Chapter 3. The Yoga of Action. Arjuna said, "If, O Krishna, you consider knowledge superior to action, why then do you urge me to engage in this terrible act of war? Your words seem to confuse my understanding. Please tell me clearly and decisively, what path will lead me to the highest good?" Krishna replied, "In this world, two paths of spiritual discipline have been taught: the yoga of knowledge for those inclined to contemplation, and the yoga of action for those drawn to work. No one attains freedom from action by mere renunciation, nor does anyone reach perfection solely through inaction. All beings are compelled to act by the forces of nature. No one can remain inactive even for a moment. Even the maintenance of the body requires action. Someone who outwardly restrains the senses but inwardly dwells on sense objects is self-deluded and called a hypocrite. Far better is the person who controls the senses with the mind and performs necessary actions without attachment. Therefore, perform your prescribed duty, for action is better than inaction. Even bodily survival cannot be secured without work. Except in the case of action done as sacrifice, all other action binds the doer to its consequences. Hence, O Arjuna, perform your duty as an offering, free from selfish desire." In ancient times, the Creator established humanity along with sacrifice, saying, "By this shall you flourish. Let sacrifice be your wish-fulfilling cow. Through it, nourish the gods, and may the gods nourish you in return. Thus, sustaining one another, you shall attain the highest good." Nourished by sacrifice, the gods grant the enjoyments you desire. But one who enjoys their gifts without offering in return is a thief. The righteous, who partake only of the remnants of sacrifice, are freed from all sin. Those who cook only for themselves eat the fruit of selfishness. All beings arise from food. Food comes from rain. Rain comes from sacrifice. Sacrifice springs from prescribed action. Action originates in the Vedas, and the Vedas themselves flow from the imperishable. Thus, the eternal is ever present in the cycle of sacrifice. O Arjuna, there is nothing in the three worlds that I must do, no duty unfulfilled, no goal unattained, yet I remain actively engaged. If I were to cease acting, all people would follow my example, and the world would fall into chaos. Whatever a great person does, others imitate. Whatever standards they uphold, the world adopts. Therefore, the wise should act without attachment, not to unsettle the minds of the unwise, who are naturally attached to action, but to guide them gradually toward higher understanding. Let not the wise person disturb the convictions of those whose discrimination is still undeveloped. Instead, they should themselves act, unattached, setting an example for others to follow. Desire and anger, born of the passionate quality, Rajoguya, are powerful enemies, devourers of knowledge and wisdom. As fire is obscured by smoke, a mirror by dust, or an embryo by the womb, so too is knowledge veiled by desire. This insatiable craving, the constant foe of the wise, resides in the senses, mind, and intellect. Therefore, O Arjuna, first restrain the senses, then, with steady resolve, destroy this enemy, desire, which corrupts knowledge and realization. The senses are superior to the body, the mind is higher than the senses, the intellect higher than the mind, and beyond the intellect dwells the self. Knowing this hierarchy, use the higher self to master the lower, and overcome the enemy within. Even those whose wisdom is clouded by desire can attain peace through disciplined practice. The self-controlled sage, free from desire, anger, and fear, quite content in the knowledge of the self, attains liberation. Such a person, purified by the fire of wisdom, becomes one with the divine. Now, O son of Preet, I will explain briefly how one who has attained peace finds fulfillment. Abandoning all desires born of personal will, finding joy in the self alone, the wise remain undisturbed amid adversity, uncraving of pleasure, and free from passion, fear, and anger. They are the same toward friend and foe, honor and dishonor, heat and cold, pleasure and pain, unattached, serene, and established in the self. This is the person of steady wisdom, the Sthita Prajna, one who has cast off all mental cravings and rests in the joy of the inner self. When a person withdraws the senses completely from their objects, as a tortoise draws in its limbs, wisdom becomes firmly established. Yet even for the wise, sense objects can cause agitation, dragging the mind away by force. Only through disciplined control does one attain true peace. When a person dwells on sense objects, attachment arises. From attachment comes desire. From desire, anger. From anger, delusion. From delusion, loss of memory. From lost memory, ruined discernment. And from the collapse of discernment, the person is destroyed. But the self-mastered individual, moving among sense objects with senses under control, neither attracted nor repelled, attains tranquility. In that tranquility, all sorrows dissolve, for the mind of the peaceful person quickly becomes steady. Without steadiness, there is no wisdom. Without wisdom, no meditation. Without meditation, no peace. And without peace, how can there be lasting happiness? The mind is restless, turbulent, powerful, and indeed, as hard to control as the wind. Arjuna said, "This yoga of evenness you describe, O Krishna, seems exceedingly difficult, for the mind is unruly and unsteady. Can such a path be attained by someone like me?" Krishna replied, "It is possible, O mighty armed one, through repeated practice, abhyasa, and detachment, vairagya. Without mastering the mind, yoga remains distant, but for one who strives with sincere effort, it is achievable."